This is going to be an overview of what you're going to be learning in the first 4 modules. In those modules, what I'm going to show you now will be broken down so that you can learn it step by step. But before I even go that far, what I want to show you is how easy it is to remove the extensions. Your kit came with a extension removing tool. It came with a bottle to put acetone in, and it came with different combs. And it came with different combs that you can use to comb out the excess resin. So I take and I just put a little bit of acetone onto the bond. I take the removing tool and I squeeze it, and it comes right out. Our biggest competitor, who has several different techniques for putting in extensions, one of them being like a cold fusion, their extensions will take longer to remove than to put in. So as quickly as I removed those 3 extensions, with all the other systems that are out there, it takes a lot longer. So the first thing I want to do now is I want to take the practice hair that came with your kit and place it into the drawing mat. And you'll see there's an arrow, and there's an arrow. So when you put this mat back on, you just want to make sure that the arrows are both going in the same direction. So I'm going to take the lightest blonde that I gave you, that included in the kit, number 613. Then it's just a level darker, more golden blonde, number 24. And then number 10. And then some number 6, which is a darker brown. Now I'm going to take the top of the drawing mat and just push it back in place. When I'm working on clients, a lot of times I'm just grabbing hair that's left over from a previous client. So what I want to do now is I want to section off the hair, and when I'm sectioning hair for extensions, I'm thinking about how would I cut the hair. How would I section the hair? In other words, if I've got someone with short hair and I want to make it long, I have to think, if they had long hair, how would I section their hair to cut it? And what I would do is, I would take a section, I would take horizontal sections starting in the back, and depending on how long I wanted to make it would depend on where I would put in my first section. So this section is just below the occipital bone, and I might go one more row below it, but this is a good starting place. And you want to work with nice clean partings, and I like to start in the middle and then I work side to side. So I'm going to take my first section And if I need to take some extra clips to clean up any loose hairs, which mannequins generally have, I'll do so. When you perfect putting in your extensions on a mannequin head and then you go to do a real client, a client's hair is a lot easier than a mannequin. It's much more difficult. So now what I'm going to do is, and I showed you included in the kit were different extensions that were already have bonds on it to show you the amount to put in. So I'm going to pull down and I'm going to custom blend a little. So I'm going to take a little from each one of these colors. This technique, we are the only company out there that you can do this. All the other companies, all the other hair extension systems that are out there, when you learn how to do their system, you're buying hair from them that has already been, they've already decided on how much hair you're going to put in. It's pre-bonded, it's pre-tipped, and then you're just going to reheat it and then attach it to the hair. And if you want to have different colors, then you have to put in different extensions that are different colors, but you couldn't put in one extension that's more than one color. So when I'm rolling, I first start rolling the top, then I take my bottom hand and I rock it up and I keep rolling, and that's one extension. And now I'm going to move on to the next one. If I want to build up length, and I need to have the bottom a nice solid bottom, then I'm going to put them in one next to the other. So this time I'm going to just put in some of the darker and some of the 10. It's really up to you. The reason that we created this, and my wife is a hair colorist, so she helped in creating the color blending, is that no one's hair is one color. If their hair is brown or blonde or whatever color it is, it has different shades of that color in it. With our system, you can make the hair look as natural as their natural hair is. So I'm just rocking up, take my left hand, I rock down, and it's done. And then I'm on to the next one. Now, if this was a client that I was working on, at this point, I would have her in the chair and I would turn it so that I'm always staying in one place, but I always want to be putting them in coming straight off the head. I don't want to be over directing them. And this time I think I'll just take some of the blondes. If you've ever had a client, let's say at the end of the summer, come in and their hair has gotten over bleached, and you wanted to low light it. My wife has told me that whenever you're low lighting hair, one of the problems is that depending on how fried the hair is, the color comes out very easily. So instead of low lighting them with color, you could low light them with extensions. What you're looking for is this nice, shiny, football-shaped bond. And it's just a question of repeating over and over and over the same step. So first I pull down, then I take my scissor, I blunt cut the end, I hold it about 3/4 of an inch from the end, I stick it under the resin applicator, I want to roll it around. I have to make sure that there's resin all the way through this hair extension. I lift it up, I place it underneath, I re-grab with my left hand, I then pull down onto the silicone pad, 45-degree angle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I rock my left hand back up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's done. And I'm on to the next one, slightly turning my mannequin again. As I get closer to the outside, I'm going to make sure that my last extension is going to be smaller than the ones that are in the middle. So that if she goes to pull her hair up, I want to make sure that one, it can't be seen, and I don't want it to pop out. The hair that you're getting are 25-gram bundles, which is approximately 50 of these extensions. Again, 45-degree angle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I take my left hand, rock it up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice and shiny, and I'm done. And I'm on to the next one. And let's see, I think that's some more of just the 24. Over time, you'll have leftover hair, so that if you have a client that you just want to maybe give them some highlights where you don't need a full 25-gram bundle of hair, you'll grab leftover bits of hair and use that and blend it to make it the color that you want. It's kind of like when you do hair color and you're using tube color, and the tube color is, let's say, 4 ounces, but you're only using 2 ounces, so you have hair color left over. And then sometimes maybe you've run out of your number 6. So you take maybe a 4 and an 8, and you blend the two together and you make a 6. Well, with this, by blending it, you can create whatever color it is that you want. With our system, the extensions are far more natural looking because we use a lot of different colors. And that's probably the biggest trick and thing to remember, is that if you've got a client and they're, let's say, just a number 4, a number 4 in a hair extension color, you still would want to add maybe a little 6 and maybe even a little of 10. Just to break it up, just to give it some depth. And now I'm on to the left side. I haven't timed myself lately, but I know when we were doing a hair show once, and we have a good friend that's a hair colorist who's very fast at putting in foils. I could put in 1 extension faster than he could put in 1 foil. So it doesn't take a long time to put the extensions in. What you'll find is the first time you do a client, they're going to get so excited about their hair being longer or fuller, and you as a stylist are going to be so excited about doing it that a lot of times you keep stopping and talking and touching it and feeling it. So it takes longer, and then as time goes on, you get faster and faster. For this reason, we do not recommend that you base your billing on the amount of time that it takes. Because as you get fast, the longer you do them, the faster you'll get. So if you were charging by the hour and all of a sudden it took you a half an hour, you'd end up charging less, and you don't want to do that. As time goes on, you always want to be charging more. And included in your kit is a whole section on pricing, and I am available for one-on-one consultations with you or with the salon owner on how to get the pricing and how to get everything up and running in your salon. If you're in a busy salon, my guess is at least 25% of the existing clients that are there are potential hair extension clients. I got to take a section, but I already had put the resin on my hair extension. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my section, I'm going to cut that part off because the resin cools very quickly. and just start it again. Hair grows roughly at 1/2 inch a month, so we recommend that every 3 months they are removed, shampooed, clarified, and then put back in again. I have some clients that come in every 6 weeks. I have clients that come in every 8 weeks, and I have clients that will come in every 3 months, take them out, have their hair highlighted, and then put back in again. For root retouches, you just do a root retouch the same way you normally would. The color will not affect these bonds. The only thing that affects the bonds is oil. So you want to make sure that the client is using the proper recommended shampoo, and that if they are a health nut and they like to work out a lot, you want to make sure that they, if they worked out in the morning and normally they wouldn't shower right away, you want them to shower within maybe an hour or so, because the extensions will cause the scalp to produce more oil, because there's more hair, and the more hair there is, it kind of makes the scalp get a little hotter, which makes it also produce more oils. And hats. I had clients that were equestrians that rode horses, and they would have their hat on, and I had to tell them after riding, within an hour or so they needed to shampoo their hair. And I've also had clients that were scuba divers, and the only thing that they had to do different was they had to get a neoprene band for their goggles, so that the band that comes with the goggle doesn't pull on the hair. Otherwise, the ocean water won't affect it, chlorine won't affect it, the sun won't affect it, oil will. I have another client who I give keratin treatments to make her hair less curly, and she just can't live without the extensions, so I just end up giving her the treatment, and then I make sure that I've rinsed it out thoroughly, following all the directions, and then I just go ahead and put her extensions in directly over it. Now, if I wasn't talking while doing this, I'd be a bit faster. And you want it, to me, it's like learning a dance step. There's just certain parts to it, and that's why in Module 2, where you're learning the 5 steps, once you put the 5 steps together, this is what you're going to end up with. And you just keep doing it over and over and over again. The more you do it, the faster you'll get, the better you'll get. I can remember learning how to do foil highlights, and the first thing when I'd put the foil in and then I'd put the bleach on, I'd put too much bleach on, and when I'm combing it through, I'd end up pulling the foil slightly away from the scalp, and then because there was too much bleach on, it ended up kind of bubbling at the scalp. And then over time, I got it to where I used the right amount of bleach, and I used the right amount of tension, and I didn't pull anything away, and I wasn't getting those bleed marks on the scalp. This is kind of the same thing. There's just, it's kind of a touch, and once you get it, that's it. When my wife and I decided that we were going to relaunch our extension company, as an online course, the first thing that we did was we went and we looked up to see, okay, what are all the other extension companies? What are they offering? How are they teaching, and what do their extensions look like? And every company that we went to, it was all hair pretty much at least to a woman's waist, if not longer. It was all either taped in, sewn in, glued pieces that were put in. None of them were individually done like the system that you're learning now. Also, none of them did they show doing the top of their head. Pretty much every client that I do, I go all the way up to wherever their parting is on the top of their head. So our system has far more flexibility, far more things that you can do with it, although I do recommend that if you're already doing extensions and you've already got that clientele with that real long hair look, I would use that system for that and use this for the client that is the next step up. The client that doesn't want to look like she has extensions, because all of those look like hair extensions. So this is what that row looks like. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. If this was a real client's head, 16, 17, 18, 20, I'd probably get 20 to 25 individual extensions into this one row. So this is again an overview. I'm showing you the custom blending. I'm showing you how to put them in. I showed you this one way of sectioning. And again, if you think of a hairstyle backwards, in other words, think of the end result that you want to achieve and how would you section it if you were cutting it, and that's how you'd put them in. And if you were going to create for a client a highlighted look, well, just think, okay, if I was highlighting their hair, how would I section the hair? And just do that. The more you do them, there's a learning curve, and as you do them, there's certain things that you're going to learn, and then you'll know a lot of the answers. And whatever you don't know, just send me a text, and I will work with you one-on-one and come up with a solution. So have fun and start with Module 2, Step 1.